Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We appreciate all comments, whether positive or negative, because it is very important to ventilate both sides of any issue. All we ask is that you observe the YouTube community guidelines. We'd like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of Lewis Hamilton and Abu Dhabi. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. As promised in our previous video titled, Ferrari thwart FIA plan to rig F1 title race with big Lewis Hamilton statement ahead of Brazil GP, we are providing this follow-up on how the driver's title race was manipulated. It is no longer a secret that the FIA are now openly indulging in manipulating races by allowing their preferred candidate to get away with using illegal technology for as long as possible, and also by applying the rules unfairly during races. This, for example, is what they did so outrageously in Abu Dhabi 3 years ago, when they changed the rules mid-race, and this is what they are still doing to date, as we will show you in this video. To back up the FIA, Liberty Media have also secured the services of McLaren's Zak Brown, who, as we have shown in several videos, helped to launder Max Verstappen's image, in exchange for his team being allocated the constructors' title. As we showed in our previous video, the FIA simply allowed Red Bull to get away with using illegal technology, until Max Verstappen had sewn up the driver's title, and then they stopped Red Bull, and allowed McLaren to get away with using illegal technology, until they thought they had sewn up the constructors' title, and then stopped them as well. Unfortunately for all the conspirators, Ferrari have blown up all their shenanigans, and as we suspected, the FIA have started targeting them, and we will wait to see how things unfold. Now, here's the thing, when you are rigging results over a season, a pattern eventually emerges, revealing a trend that is such an outlier, that it flags up the rigging. If Lance Armstrong had only won 2 titles in succession, he may have gotten away with it. The stats that Max Verstappen has been producing since 2022 are just too good to be true, and this season with 4 races out of 24 left to go, is no better, as we will show you. To recall, we highlighted the red flags in Max Verstappen's stats in our previous video. How did he go from winning 7 of the first 10 races, to winning none of the next 10 races, and no prospect of winning any more this season? If this is not the longest time between victories in a championship winning season ever, in the history of Formula 1, please let us know in the comment section. This is an unnatural trend that can only be explained by the FIA taking away the technological advantage that they had allowed only his car to have. This, by the way, also explains why Red Bull is the only team in the top 4, where only one driver has won all their victories. Perez is not getting the same car, otherwise he would be challenging, or at the very least closer to his teammate. The gap in position with Perez running 8th, while Max Verstappen is the runaway leader, is such an outlier that it has to be down to something other than individual performance. There is nowhere else on the grid where there is such a wide disparity between teammates. Furthermore, the teammates are closer at the top of the table than at the bottom, and this underlines the anomaly of Max Verstappen as runaway leader with his teammate propping up the bottom of the top 4 teams. In the 5 seasons that they have been together at Red Bull, they have never been separated by more than 2 places, and Checo has never failed to win a race. Indeed, it is widely believed that but for team orders, he would have beaten Max Verstappen to the 2022 title. Max Verstappen's dominance is even more impressive than that of Lance Armstrong and exponentially unnatural. The charts clearly suggest that Max Verstappen's stats were artificially boosted to sell him as the dominant force that would overhaul Sir Lewis, but as viewers were turning off, they had to scale things down. In scaling things down, they had to neutralize his teammate, and secure the services of McLaren to protect his rear, and that is how we arrived at where we are today. Moving on from the FIA-assisted difference between Max Verstappen and his teammate, we turn now to the trade-off with McLaren. As we advised in our previous video, because the Ferrari drivers have always been in the mix, it has been difficult for the FIA to orchestrate the allocation of the driver's title to Max Verstappen and the constructors to McLaren. The chart of the best finishing positions for the top 4 teams shows that Red Bull had the most fluctuations, excluding the DNFs for Ferrari and Mercedes, which produced the widest fluctuations. So, if Red Bull, which is exclusively represented by Max Verstappen, has produced the most fluctuations, how then did he sew up the title by round 10? Well, with a little help from the FIA on and off the track, a massive dollop from McLaren at key moments on the track, and several mistakes by the driver that the professional liar Martin Brundle claims is on the ladder of F1 greatness. This driver, who has the enviable record of starting on pole 9 times in her career, and losing 8 of those pole leads on the first lap, has so far this season lost her pole lead 6 times out of 7. The great Doris and her McLaren team have done everything they possibly can to help an erratic Max Verstappen on his way to a contrived 4th title. As great, wonderful and dominant as Max Verstappen has been this season, he has 362 points to Doris's 315 points. A margin of 47 points with 4 races to go. Astonishingly, during the season, Doris and McLaren have gifted Max Verstappen a minimum of 31 points. Yes, you heard that right, 31 points. O ye of little faith, you don't believe us? Okay, no problem, let us go through it together. Imola, where Doris had what was clearly the faster car, but he and the team were so worried about a Ferrari undercut, they opted to stop earlier to cover them off, instead of focusing on Max Verstappen, who was ahead of them. They therefore lost the opportunity to chase him down at the end, or perhaps they just protected him against Ferrari to the best of their ability. In any event, that was a 7-point turnaround. Then we have Montreal, where Doris had developed a comfortable margin in the lead, prior to a safety car intervention, when her team then inexplicably failed to pit her on the same lap as her rivals. She ended up finishing second to, you guess who? Yes, the one McLaren were committed to protecting, so another 7-point turnaround, making it 14 points so far. Next, we have Spain, where Verstappen won his last race in Formula 1, thanks to his busy mate who started on pole, but lost 2 places at the start, and could only recover to second. That makes it 21 points away. We'll skip Austria for the time being and for ease of calculation, and move on to Hungary. Now, this was where McLaren made Doris give up the lead to her teammate, because, well, who the heck knows, or cares? So, that's another 7 points gone in less than 60 seconds. Well, not done with dodgy rulings. In Monza, McLaren conveniently deprived Doris of 3 points by not issuing team orders, as Ferrari crashed the party. Altogether, Doris lost a total of 31 points that would have put her on 346 points today. Because Hungary and Monza were internal affairs, Max only gained 21 points directly from Doris, so he would have 341 points today. So, as you can see, without all the shenanigans from Doris and McLaren, he would be leading the World Championship presently. And if the FIA had given Max Verstappen the stiffer punishment that he had deserved from Austria, where he caused an accident that not only cost Doris victory, but put her out of the race completely, then the gap would be even wider. Perhaps, now you can understand why the FIA go to the ends of the world to protect Max Verstappen, because without all that protection, the most erratic driver, as demonstrated clearly by the chart, would not be cruising to his 4th title. It is unnatural for front-running F1 teams to work so hard to hold back their own title-contending driver, while simultaneously focused on defending rather than going for the lead. Without Ferrari forcing McLaren's hands, it would have been easier for them to coast to a constructors' title, while holding their drivers back from challenging Max Verstappen. But because of Ferrari, we can now show that when push comes to shove, McLaren would rather defend against Ferrari than go after Verstappen. Those of you who saw our previous video will recall that it is clearly anomalous for McLaren to effect a 134-point turnaround in the constructors' tables, while their supposedly title-chasing driver could only close the gap to the runaway leader by 17 points. So, there you have it, the breakdown of the story of the 2024 season to date. There is a reason why there is an epidemic of anomalies in the stats that F1 is producing currently, and it is the same reason Lance Armstrong recovered from cancer to win 7 titles in a row. Forza Azzurri. Forza Ferrari.